going to turn around here. There's a business park now that occupies part of Friday West, but you can see, and Friday West was considered to be the new airport for Friday Harbor for some time period, as Gerry mentioned. Now you can see just the remnant of it. I'll tilt the plane to the right here again. And there's Friday West.
Right down below us is Friday West, and that was going
and then the next field over.
Now the next
Kennels.
field over
is Kennels.
Off of Lampard Road and out.
Can you see it there?
Yeah, right down under near those bales of hay. Yeah. Right now they're putting in a new water system to Friday Harbor. The pipeline is being renewed from Trout Lake all the way in, as I understand it. My folks used to own, we called it Schmedley 40 there, where Ed Kennel's field was the last one we flew over.
We're heading down the south end here, and Denny Martell's is right over here.
Oh, yeah.
There you can see it.
Yeah.
So you see Denny's barn there?
Yeah, primarily we see the barn, and then just off to the right of it there is
the grass
Denny
field.
Martell. Denny Martell was in the school, the Friday Harbor schools. His dad was a well driller, and then he took over the well drilling. And he also flew a lot in Alaska for the fishermen, and would spot the herring or the salmon, whichever they happened to be fishing. And he handled that little Piper Cub like it was part of his body.
And he held several Guinness Book of Records for the shortest landing and takeoff.
Yeah.
Now we're coming up on Burden Field down by Cattle Point.
Yeah, the Burdens were a young family that moved in. I think they probably had 2 or 3 children during the time that they were here. I never knew him very well, but I understood that he worked in New York and more or less commuted from Friday Harbor. He would fly from his field down to Boeing and then catch a commercial to New York and work like Monday through Thursday.
Right here in traffic, Skylane 916 is down near Cattle Pass, Burden Field, just north of Cattle Pass at 1,100. You see the field now?
Sure can. It's right there, and it's beauty, and it's laying right parallel with the border of the national park, American Camp. This field, this barren field off to the right, is just loaded with rabbits and rabbit warrens. Strangely enough, they brought fox to the island a few years ago, and there's a lot of fox that hang around down here because of all the rabbits that are available. But the rabbits always seem to win out.
If you tried to walk down there, you'd break your ankle. There's so many holes.
The rabbit warrens are just everywhere. Yeah.
So now as we roll out, we're going to come up on wrong way Corrigan's airport. Go ahead, Gerry. You see it up there?
Yeah, that's up on the other side of False Bay. Maybe you see False Bay sticking in there. Right down below us now where the flag is where the American camp was.
That's right here.
National Park.
Yeah, here's False Bay.
Island traffic, Cessna 9496 south.
Just this side of False Bay where you see the construction going on is Mar Vista.
Oh.
Recently purchased by people who were doing some rebuilding of the cabins that were on it. Then this is False Bay. The tide must be fairly in because when the tide's out, you can walk at least 2/3 of the way from the shore on the far side over there out to where we are. So it's called False Bay.
Okay, now we can pick up the runway of Corrigan.
Now we're getting to Wrong Way Corrigan was a group that came up here in the early 60s and bought this property. It used to be owned by the Clements. Right below us is Kanaka Bay, and they started doing rock work to make Kanaka Bay a nice little harbor. When they noticed that breakwater going in there, when the county noticed that, they said, "Oh, you can't do that without permission and stuff." And so the whole project was abandoned.
Let's point out the runway so we go by there. You can see the X on the runway.
There's the runway, and I understand the runway is still being used by some of the locals. But that's where Rongway Corrigan was going to have his resort, and I think was maybe going to do some picture producing for Hollywood, but
it was the stunt double for Tarzan.
Never really got it off the ground because they ran into these environmental problems of not being allowed to change the bay. Kanaka Bay is where the fishing boats would come in, and you may be able to see some piles down there still in Kanaka Bay. There was a little store gas station thing out there, but I hauled the groceries out from King's Market to the Pursaners. They have Wednesday afternoon off, and so that's when we would get the groceries out to the boats that came into Kanaka Bay to reload their groceries.
You see Franklin's Field?
I see what I call the King Field.
Right.
Out on the front, up there, and that was actually the first field that was put in on the island. That was put in by my Uncle Lyle. He put it in because we were going to, right after World War II, well, everybody was going to be having planes in their garage, and he needed a plane because he did business with all the islands. So he was going to buy a Republic CB, and so the first thing we did was build that field. It was, before that, just our alfalfa field in front of the house there. But then we leveled it off. Now we're out here to Franklin's Field is down here on our right.
Yeah,
and that's where Kenny Franklin, who was part of the Roy Franklin family, so he always flew, but he did fly during the Vietnam War, I understand.
To the left of it is that other field. So you see the airplane on the left side?
Just parallel to it is our other
field, and that's where Richard Bach crashed, went over that power line and hit the...
his plane ended up right there on the road, the Valley Road. That you see are almost all man-made by damming up some ditches. My Uncle Al and my dad really had a knack for finding a place that you could put in what we called them as stock ponds in those days.
We're going to make a left turn and we'll go by the Kennel Field again. And I can't remember the name of the other field. You can see a windsock there. They do parajumping out of there.
Kennel Field right down below us here. That property was my folks' property, and Ed and Carol Kennel bought it. He's the one that got in trouble at Roach Harbor doing the stunt and ended up crashing.
We just flew over the field or the area that Ernie Gann owned called Red Mill Farm out of the valley. So we're headed back out north now, and there's one more field. I don't know if I can see it from the air or not.
Fisherman's Bay entering downwind.
It's coming up here, Fred, you see a white trailer, there's a small pond. That's the runway that goes up. That way you fly under the power lines to land. It's off the Roach Harbor Road there. There's traffic was.
I've never seen an airplane there.
Friday Harbor traffic, Cardinal 16
Probably for good reason.
Approximately 5 miles east, landing Friday Harbor.
Did you see it there, Fred?
Runway 34.
Yeah, they're using it as a campground now, but there's a lot of trailers and cars there, and that's where a guy kept an airplane for a long time.
I think this big house on the rock over here was the one that was for sale. It's
$15 million.
$15 million. So if you look at a lot of this waterfront here, it was part of the Roach Harbor that the Tarts bought. And they sold waterfront in sections like Davison Head and Afterglow, and I think they owned a lot of property on Henry Island, and I think they owned all of Pearl Island. And these were all developed during my lifetime.
When was Roach Harbor Airport put in?
Friday Harbor traffic.
That was put in the early 70s, and they ran into so much. The Tarts were getting a lot of. But the neighbors down here, some people who just moved to the island, objected tremendously.
Right base, runway 34, following the traffic.
And that was about what year?
In the early 70s.
Huh.
And these people were successful in keeping them from being able to put lights on it and things like that. I don't know if it has lights now or not. But
Friday Harbor traffic, Cardinal 162, Hotel turning.
It certainly had to be toned down from what the original plans were.
Total tailwind, we got the typical Roach Harbor switcheroo there.
Yeah.
So we come into the wind, then we switch to the other way around.
Yeah.
Well, Jerry, that was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, I hope this turns out so that we can get some nice footage to show people the islands. Beautiful flight, Bob.